upon a time there was a little boy, and he wanted to go hunting with his pop and the hound.
Howdy. We're just cleaning up a little bit. We had a big storm yesterday. It came in and sort of blew in sideways here in the workshop. So everything on this whole east side got soaked with water. I need a workshop that it can be sealed against the elements, but we ain't there yet. Got a good show for you today. This is the day late and a dollar short episode. We're going to talk a little bit about survival medicine, go through a couple of plants. Also, we're going to talk about mosquitoes and some of the basic injuries that you often receive on a homestead, or at least the ones that I receive. This is going to be an interesting day. The rain yesterday came in, and we don't get a lot of rain, and when we do, it does seem to come in pretty hard. What we have now is everything soaked. It's mud and goo, and it smells bad. Whenever there's rain, it seems like all the mold and mildew just comes out and just stinks up the place. And today's supposed to be 98 degrees, which means that all that water that's on the ground is going to steam up into the air. I'm going to get steamed like asparagus. Anyhow, we will endeavor to persevere. Enjoy the show. Alright, time to go roll up our sleeves and go to work. It is a mess in here. There's water everywhere, mud, everything's dirty. The storm yesterday was preceded by a sandstorm, so that deposits a fine layer of soil on everything. And then water comes in and turns it all to mud. But we'll make it through. I just got to put everything up. When it started coming down yesterday, I went in a hurry and gathered everything that could be damaged up, moved it to the other side. Sometimes when I do that, then the wind will change, and I have to go do it all over and rush everything back to the other side. So I end up just staying in the workshop the whole rainstorm, trying to keep everything clean. So now that the rain has come, up under the bushes and trees and in certain places, there's water. There's pools of water. And pools of water breed mosquitoes. And normally we don't have a lot of trouble with mosquitoes out here. They sort of stay down by the bodies of water, the creeks and the ponds. And if you go down there at night, sure, they'll chow down on you. But up here by the house, they don't really come in. Not in droves anyway. But this summer, we've been blessed with a lot of rain, and it has created a thriving environment for mosquitoes. I like to harvest my garden around evening when it starts cooling off, and that's when the mosquitoes start coming out, unless there's a little bit of a breeze for them. There's one right now. Unless there's a little bit of a breeze, they'll just eat you up. They get up underneath the leaves of the plants and stuff, and they hang out there until they smell, juicy hillbilly coming into the garden. Then it's like they rang the dinner bell. So, a friend of mine sent me the stuff the other day to try out and see what I thought about it. And here, I think I got a bottle of it somewhere in all this mess. Brush the dust off here and the mud from yesterday's debacle. It's called Liquid SWAT. And let's see, what all has it got in here? It's got water, yarrow, bee balm, lemon balm, and mint. And it smells really good. Ooh. Yeah, it smells like something that would taste good on chicken. And so what I do is I give it a little shake and then kind of give myself a little spritz. And now I smell good. I smell like I've been soaking in a good marinade. But I'm not sure which component it is in here that the mosquitoes don't like, or maybe it's all of them combined, but they stay off me. And I don't think anybody complains about the smell. It's certainly better than my normal smell. The The stuff lasts for, I don't know, a day or two, easy. I have a kind of an evening jacket that I wear. It's just a little gray hoodie because sometimes it cools off pretty rapidly in the evenings around here, and so I don't spritz myself. I've just spritzed my little hoodie. I do that probably once every 3 days or so with this stuff. It's good, and the smell of just the jacket keeps all the critters at bay. And I haven't really had a chance to test it on like chiggers and ticks. There's not really any tall grass or anything for me to go out into, but it's working against the mosquitoes real well. Now, mosquitoes, they're as old as the hills. I think when the first cavemen were crawling around in the dirt looking for grubs, mosquitoes were there biting them. And while they were probably a nuisance, now they're a real problem because, as it does everything, civilization has changed the whole landscape. Now we have huge masses of humanity crowded into these cities, and which even the cleanest city I've ever seen is still a cesspool compared to a farm in nature. And so these mosquitoes are transmitting diseases from out of these cities and other areas, plus from parts of the world where we typically didn't have problems. There's cases of malaria in Dallas, Fort Worth. I heard one in Abilene a while back. And also the West Nile virus. Those are diseases that were unheard of to the Comanche and the Apache. They never heard of that because they didn't go into malaria country. And they certainly didn't go to the Nile. But now with the free travel and the overcrowding in the cities, we've got these diseases everywhere. You can't get away from them. Mosquitoes are vectors. They're carriers of those problems. I don't want them biting me. But the other side of that coin is I don't want to spray DEET or some other toxic chemical on my skin. I think that the risk you run of cancer is probably higher than the risk you run of getting West Nile. I'm just not. If my general motto is that if the corporate industrial world says it's good for you and useful, run away. It ain't. It's deadly in some way. So I focus more on plants. I've always liked plants. I think they're very useful. I think they can provide you with a lot of benefits. I like that my friend here is making a product out of just raw plants. There's no preservatives, but this stuff, she says it'll keep in the refrigerator or a cool, dark place for a year. Not that bottle is going to last me a year at the rate I'm using it. I love it. I think that we need to try to avoid these industrial solutions. What would be ideal would be for me to have some of these plants growing here on my farm, to learn them and to do what she's doing. But until then, as a stopgap, I'm going to buy her product. The subject of plants is an amazing one. There is a cornucopia of pharmaceutical plants all around us at all times, and I am completely ignorant of it. The plants that she took and extracted for this all have medicinal properties beyond just being repellent to mosquitoes. The yarrow, I was looking that up, and it's a wound stopper. The Roman soldiers would carry it, and if somebody got slashed open by a sword, which I guess if you were a Roman soldier, that was an occupational hazard, then they'd apply some on you, and it would stop the bleeding. Now, because I am a bit clumsy and careless, and I work in a knife workshop, one might think that that's something that'd be handy to have around. So next slicey or stabby or owie I get, I'm going to reach for this bottle and give myself a spritz and see how that aspect of it works. Looks like yesterday my grab and go gun here got a little water on it because it's got a little bit of rust forming up. So I guess we need to take care of that. Otherwise, one day we'll go to grab it and it won't be usable. That would be bad. So, talking about these medicinal plants, Yeah, look at that. Yuck. Anyway, these medicinal plants, just every farm has got a ton of them. They're everywhere. How do you learn to recognize them? Well, there's books and there's websites and internet forums and whole discussion groups. Once I started getting into the study of it, I was thinking, well, I know this plant, I know this plant, I know a few of the easily recognizable plants, but I don't know a lot. And so I got to talking with my friend who sent me that SWAT, and she says, oh, well, you have this growing there, and this has growing there, and this growing there. Well, she went and looked on my blog and found some old pictures I'd taken. Not of plants, just of other things. She'd look in the background to see those plants. And she could tell that, you know, what they were and how useful they were to the farm. And I thought, huh. And I looked at one of them, and it's got all sorts of medicinal properties. It's a gold mine. And I was looking at it, and I thought, where is that? Where does that grow? I don't know where that grows. Where did I take that picture at? Got to talking about it with my wife. That's 8 foot off our back porch. So I've got this gold mine of pharmaceutical plants that are just healthy and serve so many purposes. And it's right there. Anyway, clearly this is something I'm going to have to amp up. I had wanted to have on this show me telling you all about these different types of plants and how to use them. But when it got down to it, I don't know anything about it. And I try not to talk on this show about stuff that I don't know that much about. So I think you need to go to whichever homesteading forums that you participate in or internet groups. Start carrying on discussions about plants. Get you some of these books and start making this a hobby. You know, a walk through the woods is a pretty glorious thing anyway. But if you can go through there and also return with some useful pharmaceutical plants, boy, did that make it just that much better for you? Anyway, clearly my knowledge is going to have to be ramped up in this area. I'm very dismayed. I've focused on a whole lot of things about homesteading that I thought were useful, and I overlooked such a major, obvious one. We're always getting some sort of little owie here. Cuts and slices are probably first and foremost in our regime. It's just natural. I mean, you're always working with tools and everything else. Somebody will drop something on their foot, so you've got bruises, cuts, slices, stabbies, owies, burns. Burns are usually fairly minor, but they do happen. I got a pretty good scar on one of my knuckles here. You can't see, but where I got it caught in one of my grinders. Got my finger caught in a grinder. Took off all the skin off of one knuckle. Sure could have used some of that yarrow that day. Anyway, this is clearly a topic that we need to discuss more in depth. And I hope to return to a show and give you some real good, useful knowledge of it. That would be ideal. Well, I believe this is the first time I've ever devoted an entire show knowingly to my complete ignorance of a topic. So, hope you enjoyed it. The plants, we gotta learn some more about plants. I think some of y'all are probably a lot more expert at this than I am, and I'd love to hear your comments on it. Get your thoughts and email and whatnot. The time is coming when traditional medicine is going to return and corporate industrial medicine is going to disappear. It's not going to be available to you. And I think that there's a lot of us that our health systems are compromised due to what we've been eating and what we've been consuming out there in the world from the corporate industrial world. I know that it took me a while once I started eating a lot healthier. It took me a while to feel better. And when it first started, I'd feel actually more sick because my body was taking that opportunity to get rid of some of the toxins I'd built up. And that was strange to me. But that's what happens. So it's probably the same with traditional medicine. It's going to take time for our bodies to react to that and for us to learn. A lot of these traditional plants and whatnot, these treatments, these herbal treatments, they are meant not necessarily to fight something. Modern medicine attacks the virus, and the wound, whatever is causing you problem. And these more traditional medicines, based on what I've seen and read so far, is that they tend to work towards purifying your body and boosting your own natural immune system to the point that your body fights the sickness. The medicines don't fight your sickness. The body fights the sickness. The medicines help the body. That's a good approach. I like that. I've always been a believer that if you just put, your body's made out of proteins and fats, and if you put good healthy proteins and fats into your body knows what to do with them and will use it to rebuild the components that are damaged and sick and working poorly. So by all means, let's go out and let's learn some more about these plants, and let's get going on that, while we still have the resources that make it easier for us to do this. If the internet were to go off tomorrow and we would never have any access to this knowledge again, then a lot of us would be in trouble, because we would have to relearn what these plants do. And I suspect there's about 20,000 years worth of trial and error in there, and probably a whole lot of people dropping dead when they ate not only the wrong thing, but sometimes you can eat the right thing the wrong way, or the right thing out of season, and that kills you too. So, time to get cracking. Well, thanks for visiting with me this Saturday. We're a day late again. But praise God, we're still here. So, God bless. Hope y'all have a good coming week, and y'all keep on being y'all.